the English and the Germans are descended from the same stock, and they've separated and ended up having completely different worldviews and philosophies and ways of being in the world. The difference between them is that between a people whose soul has developed out of an awareness of insular security and one that has been forced to maintain a frontier without natural borders to protect its enemy. In England, splendid isolation replaced the organised state. Now, what we mean here is that the English, so the section of the Saxons who went to England, they of course they were surrounded by the seas, and this offered them a large degree of protection from outside forces. All you had to worry about was large navies, but that didn't. And then after that, a land invasion, and this had an effect on the way the English developed and the thinking of the English. Whereas you can contrast that with the Prussian German plain, which is surrounded on all sides by enemies, and so this is the key here. This too had an effect on them. And this meant that the Germans would huddle together and collectivise, and the state would become their barrier in effect. Whereas the English didn't have to do that. The English were so secure that the philosophies and the thinking of what became normal in England, in the Englishman, was to always try and distance himself from centralised power, because it just didn't matter, because you were so secure on your island. And you see this going, what she's going to get into, you see this going through so many of the philosophies and ideologies which came out of England. And it's always about being an individual and away from the centralised authority. And for the Germans, they didn't have that luxury, and so they became part of a totality, and they gravitated towards the centralised state and the military and duty and honour towards the whole out of sheer necessity, because they didn't have the water surrounding them.